everybody, it's Harvard lawyer Lee. Well, next month in a Los Angeles courtroom, Johnny Depp's dream team is going to be in action once again, this time defending Johnny Depp against an allegation of assault brought by a man named Greg Rocky Brooks. Now, Brooks says that Johnny Depp assaulted him while they were on location filming a movie, City of Lies. His trial against Johnny Depp is slated to start next month on July 25th, 2022 in Los Angeles County. Camille Vasquez will be representing Johnny Depp once again. Brooks says that it was April 13, 2017 when Johnny Depp assaulted him. Brooks has also sued several other entities claiming that they were involved or have responsibility. Now, Brooks was the location manager. He says that he told Depp that the filming had to stop for the day, and that Depp's response was, "Who the F are you? You have no right to tell me what to do." Brooks says that Depp then screamed at him, used obscenities, punched him twice in the ribs, and then offered to pay Brooks $100,000 to hit Depp back. Brooks said Depp continued to scream at him and berate him in front of the entire set until finally Depp's bodyguards came and dragged him away. Now, Brooks says that the producers asked him to sign an agreement saying he wouldn't sue the production team, but when he refused, he was fired. Brooks says he is making 3 allegations. The first is assault and battery. The second is intentional infliction of emotional distress. And the third is negligence. Camille Vasquez is going to be handling the case for Johnny Depp once again, presumably with much of her team intact, but Ben Chu won't be present. Instead, Randall Smith, another partner from Camille's firm, will be working with her on the case. At least he's on the pleadings so far. Johnny Depp has filed a trial brief in the case, so we have a pretty good idea of where Camille Vasquez will be going with her arguments in the case. And they divide into 2 broad categories. The first is, this never happened. There was no such assault. And then the second is that there were no damages to Mr. Brooks from what happened. So let's talk a little bit about what those allegations are. The first one is that it never happened, and the argument starts with what did happen, which wasn't anything physical, was Brooks's fault in the first place. They say that Brooks was misbehaving on set, that he flipped off a representative of a company that owned the property adjacent to where they were filming, and then berated a woman on the set, and Depp intervened and on her behalf and reprimanded Brooks. They said there was no physical violence involved, that Johnny Depp never hit Mr. Brooks. And apparently, the script supervisor agrees with that. Emma Danoff filed an affidavit saying that Brooks berated an African-American homeless woman who was on set using racial and derogatory terms, that Depp came to the woman's defense, and that nobody threw a punch. So the 2 made up after the incident, after the argument that was verbal. Johnny Depp said, "I had an assistant bring a bottle of wine and we toasted in, I think, paper cups. And no harm, no foul. I apologized, he apologized, gave him a hug, we embraced, I hugged him, and everything was cool. As a matter of fact, he asked me for a selfie with me, and so I took a selfie with him." So Johnny Depp's perspective is that there was no violence, that whatever happened was caused by Brooks in the first place, and that they made up, that it was all okay. In fact, that selfie that Johnny Depp mentions, Blast had for many months Blast published a photo that Brooks had on his Facebook page. And the Facebook page was a picture of Brooks with Johnny Depp, apparently right after this incident. The 2 have their arms around each other, they're smiling, and Brooks admitted it was on his page for more than a year until he took it down the day after he filed the lawsuit against Johnny Depp. Depp's team is also going to argue that there are no damages, that even if Johnny Depp hit Mr. Brooks, which they say didn't happen, but even if it did, there are no damages to Mr. Brooks, so there's nothing for the jury to return a verdict about. So first they talk about medical damages, and Depp's team argues that Brooks had no physical injuries and did not even take so much as an aspirin after the night of the incident, or on the night of the incident. He never saw a doctor and had no medical expenses. They put this quote in their trial brief. Question: do I correct, this is from the deposition of Mr. Brooks. So this would be one of the Depp team asking the questions and then Mr. Brooks answering. Question: do I correctly understand that from the moment that Depp landed these punches on you on the set through today, you haven't seen any medical doctor for any complaints about what happened to you? Answer: no. Question: no, I don't understand, or no, you haven't seen a medical. Answer: no, I have not seen a medical doctor. Question: is that because you didn't feel the need to seek medical treatment? Answer: yes. So Mr. Brooks claims he has emotional injuries and needed therapy, but Depp's team has 3 arguments that they're going to use to counter that suggests that the emotional injuries are exaggerated or maybe even non-existent. The first thing they're going to argue is that Mr. Brooks has only seen a family therapist 4 times at a total cost of $800. The second thing they're going to argue is that Mr. Brooks did not see that family therapist until 18 months after the incident with Mr. Depp. In other words, it wasn't particularly urgent and may not even be related. Then the third thing they're going to argue is that Mr. Brooks did not go to that family therapist until after he was served with interrogatories asking whether he had received medical treatment. And their quote from their trial brief is, at which point Mr. Brooks apparently realized that a visit to a therapist might help obfuscate the fact that he has no damages. Now, Depp's team also argues that in addition to no medical damages, Brooks has no economic damages. What they're going to be arguing is that Brooks said he was blacklisted and did not get 2 employment opportunities, which meant he lost $70,000. But Depp's response is there won't be proof that the jobs were lost due to the dispute with Depp. They also argued that even if he lost because of his lawsuit, that's his fault for bringing the lawsuit. If that's not something Johnny Depp is responsible for legally, that's the argument that they're making. And they're also going to argue that even if Mr. Brooks lost work because of the dispute and the ramifications that what other people thought about that, it wasn't Depp's fault because there was nothing he had control over. If other people didn't hire him because of the dispute, it wasn't Johnny Depp's fault. But regardless of whether or not the merits are on Johnny's side or not, it would be a really terrible idea for Johnny Depp's team to let this case go to trial if they lose, for several reasons. If they they either need to settle the case, in my view, or if they go to trial, they absolutely have to win. And here's why I think that. First of all, a judgment against Johnny Depp would undo the work that the Dream Team did in Fairfax in the case against Amber Heard. Remember that Depp built up capital with the public, and it would just be a waste to spend that capital on such a small case as this one. In the Depp versus Heard case, Johnny Depp argued that he was a peaceable person, that he had, from childhood, been a person who avoided conflict, not a person who ran to it or caused it, that he learned not to fight back because of his abusive mother. So if a jury enters a judgment against him on the issue of assault, that's going to knock things back a long way in the court of public opinion. The second reason I say that I think they either need to settle or win is that if Amber Heard and Johnny Depp don't settle the case and it goes on to appeal and got reversed, there would be a new trial. If for any reason there is a new trial, then Amber Heard is going to argue that any new assault allegations are relevant. So that'll become one of the issues in dispute that the judge will have to rule on at any second trial. So we will look forward to seeing what happens in the case. I would imagine that it will be hard fought and a really interesting case, and I'll bring you back more news on that as soon as there is any. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.